Lieutenant Colonel Vindman is responding to Adam Schiff, I believe. He begins talking about the July 10th meeting at the White House. This was the time where it is, or it has been revealed that Ambassador Sondland spoke with a Ukrainian official. There was a Ukrainian official there at the White House, and Ambassador Sondland rattled off something about investigations needing to be commenced in order to secure the meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky. And again, we have reported that with that assertion, with that remark by Gordon Sondland, the meeting ended abruptly. And it was the former National Security Advisor, John Bolton, who seemed disgusted by that assertion, and he prematurely ended the meeting.
John Bolton.
John Bolton.
John Bolton was disgusted. Think about that. Think about that.
Yes. And as there have been a number of witnesses now that have said that what John Bolton said was that he was not going to be party to like this drug deal. He equated it to like a drug deal.
Now think about how sheemy and shisty you gotta be for John Bolton.
Yeah. For you to be too far for John Bolton.
Yeah, that's a bridge too far. John Bolton now. This mug has done everything he could do in order to start wars.
Yep, but this was too far.
This was too far. That should tell you something.
All right, so this is Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman talking about that July 10th meeting at the White House.
To the best of my recollection, Ambassador Sondland said that in order to get a White House meeting, the Ukrainians would have to provide a deliverable, which is investigations, specific investigations.
And what was Ambassador Bolton's response or reaction to that comment?
We had not completed all of the agenda items, and we still had time for the meeting, and Ambassador Bolton abruptly ended the meeting.
Did you report this incident to the National Security Council lawyers?
Yes, I did.
Based on Ambassador Sondland's remark at the July 10th meeting, was it your clear understanding that the Ukrainians understood they had to commit to investigations President Trump wanted in order to get the White House meeting?
It may have not been entirely clear at that moment. Certainly, Ambassador Sondland was calling for these meetings, and he had stated that this was developed per a conversation with the Chief of Staff, Mr. Mick Mulvaney, but the connection to the President wasn't clear at that point.
But the import of what Ambassador Sondland said during that meeting was that there was an agreement with Mick Mulvaney that Zelensky would get the meeting if they would undertake these investigations.
That is correct.
Now, one thing to keep in mind here is who has the ear of the president, and that is Ambassador Gordon Sondland. It's been reported as well that Gordon Sondland went around saying to maybe possibly a number of people, saying that he can get President Trump on the phone anytime he wanted to, just kind of bragging about his stature. So Vindman had no communication with President Trump. Bill Taylor, no communication, no direct communication with President Trump. A lot of these figures did not have direct communication with President Trump. But this guy, Sondland, who does have direct communication, is saying something to this Ukrainian official about how to secure the meeting.
This is why kind of the Republican angle to attack all this is bunk. Because they're expecting everyone to know everything at the same time as if they are a part of the back channel. They're just a part of the regular channel.
Right.
And that's what that's the role that they're meant to have. They're not supposed to be like privy, and they're not supposed to be in on the back channel stuff. They're just there as kind of I don't want to say shiny objects, but they are there to give the appearance of everything being on the up and up.
Here we're going to hear again from Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and how he reacted, his initial reaction to the July 25th phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky. Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman was actually on the call listening in.
Without hesitation, I knew that I had to report this to the White House counsel. I had concerns, and it was my duty to report my concerns to the proper people in the chain of command.
And what was your concern?
Well, Chairman, as I said in my statement, it was inappropriate, it was improper for the president to request and to demand an investigation into a political opponent, especially a foreign power where there's at best dubious belief that this would be a completely impartial investigation, and that this would have significant implications if it became public knowledge, and it would be perceived as a partisan play. It would undermine our Ukraine policy, and it would undermine our national security.
Now, Colonel, you've described this as a demand, this favor that the president asked. What is it about the relationship between the President of the United States and the President of Ukraine that leads you to conclude that when the President of the United States asks a favor like this, it's really a demand?
Chairman, the culture I come from, the military culture, when a senior asks you to do something, even if it's polite and pleasant, it's not to be taken as a request. It's to be taken as an order. In this case, the power disparity between the two leaders, my impression is that in order to get the White House meeting, President Zelensky would have to deliver these investigations.
Basically, Trump was not bringing this up for no reason.
Yeah.
Trump wasn't bringing these investigations up for no reason. That's not something you bring up in passing, or you just bring up, just nonchalantly. You want that to get done. You want those things to get done. I mean, especially if you say the word favor.
Yes. And think about what's already hanging over the head of Ukrainian officials. Now, so far, everyone that has testified believes that Ukrainians did not know that the security assistance was withheld until that political report, and I believe that was end of August, like August 28th, August 29th. But what also is hanging over the head is the investigations, which they did know about prior to this. Months in advance, they knew about the investigations that President Trump wanted. So that's hanging. They already know about this. And here we have on July 25th, President Trump is actually again communicating that directly to the president of Ukraine. Hey, I want a favor here. So you already know about this. You already heard from your staff, your personnel, your officials that are close to you. You've already heard, especially, and you recall, just about 2 weeks prior, on July 10th, a meeting at the White House. What did Sondland say again? He said that to secure the meeting with President Zelensky and President Trump, you had to commit to the investigations. So you already knew about this. President Zelensky would have had to already known about this. So when President Trump is saying that he needs a favor done, this is not a simple ask. If somebody in a superior place asks you for a favor, it's not really just a simple favor, especially if they're holding something over your head, if they're hanging something over your head. So
from one president to
think about in crime.
From one president to another president.
Yeah.
This is not something that's routine.
No, it's not. And thinking about in the world of crime, like I think the GOP they're behaving like things need to be said blatantly. Like, hey, this is a quid pro quo. I need you to understand that. Those words do not need to be communicated. Hey, President Zelensky, this is an extortion attempt. I just wanted to let you know that. We don't actually need to hear the words. We know what these actions mean.